Hello, welcome back to the Teacher Trainers channel, the channel with the coolest resources for all you hardworking teachers out there. My name is Adrian Rogers and I will be your teacher for this lesson. So as elementary teachers, we all know how important it is to run activities in our class in order for the students to practice the new vocabulary of the lesson or previously learned vocabulary, and of course put that extra energy that our young students have into good use. So following the success of the video that I made talking about 5 activities that you can do in your teenagers class, today I decided to put together 5 activities that you can do in your elementary class for your students to practice while having fun. So these activities are not your typical Simon Says. These are more creative and of course they follow the same criteria as the previous video, which is very little preparation, they are not very common, they are a lot of fun, and your students will be practicing more than one skill, which is not only vocabulary, but there will be a little bit of speaking and listening included in each activity. So the first activity that I'm bringing you is called Sharks. And this activity can be done with students all the way from kindergarten up to elementary and even teenagers. Here's how it works. On the floor, grab a marker and draw some circles around the classroom. The number of circles that you draw will depend on the students that you have. You will see why in a minute. Inside each circle, write down a number. Now the total number of all the circles will have to be equivalent to the number of students that you have in the class minus 1. So for example, if you have 8 students in the class, the total number that you write on the floor will have to be 7. So you can do one circle can be 2, one circle can be 3, another one can be 1, and that makes it 6 in total. So now, after you have done that, ask your students to start walking around the class in a circle. As they walk, you shout out animal names. For example, monkey, and then students will have to walk around the class doing the action of a monkey. Then you can say elephant, and students will have to walk around doing the action of an elephant. When the teacher says sharks, all the students will have to run inside the circle and step in. But here's the catch. The number that you have in the circle indicates how many students can stand in that circle. So for example, if the number inside the circle is 2 and 3 students run into the circle, that means that the last one to step into the circle will be out. And then erase the number, bringing it down to the total amount of students that you have left, minus 1. The student who is out can be the one shouting out the animal names for further engagement. Keep doing this until there is only one student standing, and that will be the winner of the game. Try it. It's super fun, high energy, and young students absolutely love it. So the next activity I'm bringing you is called Cowboy. And this activity is not only for elementary students, but it can also be used with teenagers and even adults. Super simple. Here is how it works. Have ready a list of pictures with the vocabulary that you want your students to practice. Either the vocabulary that you want to teach for that lesson or the vocabulary that they have learned previously. Divide the students into 2 teams and ask them to stand up and make 2 lines. Ask them to choose a name for their team and write it down on the board. Choose one student from each team to come to the middle and ask them to stand back to back so that they cannot see each other. Then give a picture to each student and ask them to hold it chest height. Then the whole class will have to count to 3. On each count, the students will take 1 step forward. For example, everyone says 1, they take 1 step forward. 2, they take another step forward. But on 3, the students will have to turn around as fast as they can and try to say the word that the other person is holding. The first one to say the word will get a point, and you assign it to the whole team. As you can see, this activity will make the students have to think really fast, which is great for students to remember vocabulary. After you're done, ask another student from each team to come to the front and repeat the steps. At the end, when everyone has had a turn, count the points on the board, and the team with the most points will be the winner. This activity is a total hit with any type of students. Try it. You'll see what I mean. The next activity is one of my creations and it just works really well. This activity can be used as a warm-up to practice previously taught vocabulary, or it can be used throughout your lesson for the students to practice vocabulary and spelling. It is very simple and it requires no materials. Here's how it works. Have a list of words that you want your students to practice. Ask your students to stand up, make 2 lines, and assign a name for each team. Choose one person from each team to come to the front and look at the word that you want them to practice. Once they have seen the word, on the count of 3, they will have to run to their team and spell the word for the rest of the students. Now, this is called body spelling because the rule is that they can only use their body to spell the word. So they can either write in the air, do the letters with their body, they can write on their hand, but they cannot do the action of the word, they cannot point, and they cannot move their lips. The rest of the team will attempt to guess the word it is. When they think they know the word, they shout it out loud, and then the one who does it first will get a point. Now, if the level of your students is good enough, you can ask them to, once they've guessed the word, run to the board, grab a marker and write it down on the board so that the teacher can check the spelling and make sure they remember the vocabulary clearly. After you are done with all the words, count the points on the board. The team with the most points is the winner. As you can see, super simple to run, super fun, and you can do it anytime with any type of students. And number 4, we have change chairs. Again, very little preparation, very high energy. This activity includes vocabulary, speaking, listening, and a little bit of grammar. That's 4 skills in one activity. Here's how it works. Prepare a chair for each student in the class -1, which means that if there are 10 students in the class, you will need 9 chairs. Put them in a circle, leaving a big space in the middle. You will need it. Ask your students to sit down and choose one person who doesn't have a chair. For the first example, make sure it's you. Stand in the center and using the sentence, change chairs, if you will give a command to your students using the vocabulary that you want them to practice. So for example, if the topic is clothes, you can say, change chairs if you're wearing glasses. So everyone in the class who is wearing glasses will have to stand up and sit on a different chair. Now, as they do that, the person in the middle will have to try and steal someone else's chair so that there is someone else left without a chair, and that is the person who will have to stand in the middle. And then that person will say, change chairs if you're wearing black shoes, or if you're wearing a watch, if you're wearing a ring. And then the students stand up and will have to change the chair. Now, the rules for this game are that students must sit at least 2 chairs away from the chair where they're sitting. If not, you will just have students sitting on the chair next to them and it will be very difficult to steal it from them. The second rule is that once they stand up, they cannot go back to their original chair. If they do that, they are automatically the ones in the center. If someone is actually wearing something that the person in the middle says, but they don't change their chair, they're automatically out. So, there you have it. This is change chairs, and we have actually made a full video talking about this activity. I will link it in the description below so you can check it out. And if you're looking for the perfect warm-up, number 5 is for you. This one is called Bang Bang. And here's how it works. Ask your students to stand up and make a big circle. For the first example, you stand in the middle so that the students know what they need to do. So you stand in the middle and you choose the topic that you want your students to practice. For example, let's say fruits. Then you will point at one of your students and you say bang. That person will have to kneel down so that the 2 people next to them have to compete against each other. And this is what they need to do. As soon as that person kneels down, the 2 people will have to attempt to say the name of a fruit and point at the other one and say bang. The one who does it first is the winner, and the other person will have to sit down because they're out. The person that you pointed at originally can stand up and continue playing. After that, You point at someone else, say bang, that person kneels down, and the two people next to each other will have to compete, saying a word as fast as they can, and then bang. Again, the person who's the slowest will have to sit down, the person you pointed at will stand up, and you continue until there is no one left. The rule is that no one can repeat the same word twice. So if one person says apple, and then the next round another person says apple, that person is automatically out and they will have to sit down. Once everyone is done, feel free to ask them to stand up again, choose a different topic, and even you can choose someone to be in the middle and continue practicing more vocabulary until time is up. As you can see, this activity will help your students practice vocabulary and think on their feet, which is great for them to remember it even better. And there you have it, guys. That is Bang Bang. And there you have it, folks. 5 super cool and fun activities that you can do in your elementary class. Please let me know if you do try them. Comment below which one you like the most. And also please let us know what kind of content you would like to see in the next video. We are here to help you all, giving you ideas and giving you all the teaching tips that you need to take your class to the next level. If you enjoyed this content, please hit like, subscribe if you haven't yet. Thank you for watching. Adrian from the Teacher Trainers. Happy teaching.